You know, it is so rare to find something that unites political rivals in America these days. But there's this one kind of obscure law from the 90s that has managed to do just that by making everyone mad at it. It's called Section 230, and honestly, if you want to understand the internet today, you have to understand this law.
Back in 2020, one of the loudest voices calling for it to be torn down was then-President Donald Trump. The argument from him and many on the right was that big tech companies were hiding behind this law to censor conservative opinions.
But here is where the story gets really interesting. In that very same year, his political rival, Joe Biden, said pretty much the exact same thing, that Section 230 needed to go, immediately. The thing is, he had completely different reasons for it.
And that leads us to the big puzzle we're going to try to solve here. How in the world did this one law become a top enemy for both the left and the right? What does it even do, and what would actually happen if it just disappeared?
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to get to the bottom of what Section 230 actually is. Then, we'll look at this bipartisan attack against it. After that, we'll explore why some people call it the Internet's First Amendment. And finally, we'll look ahead to what might happen next.
So to really get why everyone's so fired up, you have to understand the law itself. And to do that, well, we have to take a little trip back in time, back to the dial-up days when the internet was still just this new, kind of wild frontier.
Right here, these are the legendary 26 words that created the internet. Now, what does all that legalese actually mean? Well, in simple terms, it means that websites, everything from Facebook and X to Yelp, or even the comment section on your local news site, they aren't legally responsible for the stuff that you and I post on them. It treats them like a bookstore, not the author of every single book inside.
So you gotta ask, why was this even necessary? What was the problem that Congress was trying to fix? Well, it all goes back to a huge legal mess in the early 90s.
This slide just lays out the impossible choice perfectly. Early internet platforms were stuck between a rock and a hard place. See, one court case in '91 basically said, if you're totally hands-off and don't moderate anything, you're fine, no liability. But then, just a few years later, another court case said, whoa, hold on. If you moderate anything at all, even if you're just trying to clean things up, you're now a publisher and can be sued for everything on your site. It was a total catch-22. Either let your site become a chaotic mess or risk getting sued into oblivion.
So Congress had to step in. They saw this moderator's dilemma and created Section 230 to fix it. The goal was simple: give platforms the freedom to host our content and to moderate the really bad stuff, all without the fear of a lawsuit for every single user post.
Okay, so if Section 230 was the solution back then, how did it become this modern-day political lightning rod? Well, today, that very same law is being attacked from literally every direction.
And this is the core of the whole debate right here. Both parties want to get rid of Section 230, but for completely opposite reasons. On one side, you have Republicans who argue that platforms are using it as a shield to silence conservative viewpoints. And on the other side, you have Democrats arguing it lets these same companies get away with not doing nearly enough to stop the spread of things like hate speech and disinformation.
Here's a quote from Senator Marsha Blackburn that really sums up the Republican argument. It's this belief that a law designed to promote free expression is now being twisted to shut down one side of the conversation.
And then you have the counter-argument, put perfectly by former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. The idea here is that Section 230 has basically become a get-out-of-jail-free card for tech companies that are making money from dangerous content without being held responsible for the consequences.
So with all this criticism from both sides, you have to wonder, why does this law even still exist? Well, its defenders will tell you that without it, the internet as we know it would pretty much just cease to exist.
And this is so important to remember. Section 230 isn't just about Facebook and X. It's the legal backbone for almost everything you do online that involves user content. I mean, think about it. Every Amazon review you read, every Wikipedia article you cite, every Reddit forum you browse. It even allows for massive social movements like #BLM and #MeToo to grow because platforms aren't terrified of getting sued over what millions of people are sharing.
So it really makes you think, what would happen if we woke up tomorrow and Section 230 was just gone? What would the internet actually look like?
People who defend the law have a name for what they think would happen, and it sounds pretty serious: collateral censorship.
So what does that mean? Well, think about it. If platforms could be sued for literally anything a user posts, they wouldn't just take down illegal stuff. They'd have a massive financial reason to take down anything that's even a little bit controversial just to avoid the risk. The result wouldn't be less censorship, it would be way more. And there's another huge problem. The only companies that could afford an army of lawyers to deal with constant lawsuits would be the massive ones, the Googles, the Metas. For any small startup trying to compete, it would be almost impossible. You'd basically be handing even more power over to a handful of tech giants.
And that's where we stand today. The internet is at a major crossroads. Pretty much everyone agrees there are problems with how things work now, but nobody can seem to agree on how to fix them.
The proposed solutions are all over the map. You've got some people who want to just repeal the whole thing, period. Others are pushing for new rules to force neutrality on platforms, which was never part of the original law. And then there are more targeted ideas, like creating carve-outs for specific types of illegal content, or passing sunset bills that would give the law an expiration date, forcing Congress to come up with the real plan for the modern era.
And at the end of the day, that's the fundamental question we're all left with. Section 230 was built for a dial-up world, but it's the foundation of the internet we use every single day. The challenge now is, how do we fix the very real, very serious problems of today's internet without accidentally breaking the very thing that built it in the first place?